Lab 12 KSP determination. For this lab, you will need 7 100 milliliter beakers, a jar of lead 2 nitrate, a jar of potassium iodide, 2 10 milliliter and 25 milliliter graduated cylinders, deionized water, a weighing scale, and 2 100 milliliter volumetric flasks. To make a 0.01 molar solution of lead 2 nitrate, measure out 0.33 grams. To make a 0.02 molar solution of potassium iodide, measure out 0.33 grams. Now that we measured out 0.33 grams for each compound, we have to make a solution using the 100 milliliter volumetric flask. Use a funnel to add water to the flask and make sure to mix constantly. At the end, take a dropper and carefully add water so the meniscus reaches the line indicated on the flask. Now, prepare the potassium iodide solution the same way you prepared the lead 2 nitrate solution. Make sure not to spill any of the compound while putting it into the flask. There are 7 trials for this experiment. For trial 1, we need 33 milliliters of water, and add that to beaker 1. For the second trial, we need 28 milliliters of water. Add that to beaker number 2. For the third trial, we need 24 milliliters of water. Add that to beaker 3. For the fourth trial, we need 20 milliliters of water. Add that to beaker 4. For trial 5, we need 16 milliliters of water. For trial 6, we need 12.5 milliliters of water. For the last trial, we need 8 milliliters of water. Add that to the last beaker and make sure not to mess up the beaker orders. Line up all your beakers from most water to least water and get ready to add lead 2 nitrate. For the first beaker, add 4 milliliters. For the second, add 6 milliliters. For the third, add 8 milliliters. Add 10 milliliters for the fourth. 12 milliliters for the fifth, 14 milliliters for the sixth, and 16 milliliters for the last beaker. Now we have to add potassium iodide to figure out which beaker is the one closest to KSP. Add 4 milliliters of Ki to the first beaker, 6 milliliters of Ki to the second beaker, 8 milliliters of Ki to the third beaker. None of these form any precipitate. Add 10.5 milliliters to the fourth beaker, and you can tell it precipitates because it turns a little bit yellow. Add 13 milliliters to the fifth beaker, and the precipitate becomes obvious. The same thing happens for the sixth and last beaker by adding 14 milliliters and 16 milliliters respectively. Make sure to stir occasionally so the reaction happens faster. By lining up our beakers 1 through 7, we can tell that the fourth beaker is the closest to KSP. It precipitates the least out of the last 4 beakers.